Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Out of the Box with Christine. I am your host, Christine Blosdale. And first of all, thank you so much for joining us. And if you are listening to us on the podcast, that's wonderful. But if you are watching us on YouTube, please feel free to share this important video. I have someone, I'm asking a wonderful woman to return to Out of the Box with Christine. My guest is CHERON K Griffin, and she's a freedom coach, lifestyle hacker, dating consultant, and a divorce guru. She lives her authentic life and understands that happiness comes from within. She's also an author of 3 published books, an international speaker, and the founder and CEO of Grow a Girl Network Incorporated, and the creator of the ICU campaign, which is dedicated to suicide prevention and mental health awareness. And I had the privilege of having CHERON on Out of the Box with Christine a while ago to talk about her book, ICU, Igniting Hope and Preventing Suicide. And I'm so happy to have you back on, CHERON, to talk about a little bit about what's going on in the world, but also how we
Yes,
can make the world a better place and how we can
yes,
heal.
ma'am.
So welcome back.
Yes.
Welcome back to Out of the Box.
Thank you. Thank you, Christine. Thanks for the opportunity. Once again, I really appreciate that. And thank you for choosing me. That's very important. Thank you for choosing me because it could be someone else.
Well, you know what? I knew, okay, when I know something, like right now I'm getting full goosebumps. I got them on my legs. I got them all through my back. When
Wow.
I know I'm supposed to do something or cover something on the show, I get a voice, or it's not even a voice, a thought. I don't know. It's a real, like a tug, like somebody like tugging at your shirt, you know? But this is tugging at my heart. And it was, you need to do a show on what's happening right now with not only the protests, because I see it on social media and I see the people who do understand what is happening, what has been happening for
Yes.
hundreds of years, really, right? And then I
Yes,
see
ma'am.
my family and some friends who watch Fox News. That's all I got to say. I love them, but
I know.
they're buying into this, stuff. And instead of me trying to sit there on Facebook and explain and go, no, you'll never
Right.
understand, I had this download of like, I really needed to cover this. And this is where you
Okay.
came in. I was sitting there going, ooh, who can I, you know, my first thing was Dr. Cornell West. But I tell you something, I don't have his contact
Oh,
information because he's someone that
okay. Okay.
he's someone that I've always wanted to interview. I
Okay.
I have had a few people that I've just like on my wish list, and
Okay.
he was one of them, Cornell West, and I was like, oh yeah, and then it was like, no, Christine, you first of all, good luck. I don't think it's gonna happen,
It
and
can. It can.
yeah, but I was like, no, I needed to do it urgently. I wanted to do it
Okay.
right away. I didn't want to wait weeks and weeks. And
Gotcha.
then I was doing a live Facebook,
Yeah.
and you came on, and I was like, wow, manna from heaven right there. Boom. And
Wow. Thank you. Thank
thank
God.
you. Yes, thank you so
You're
much. So
welcome.
before we get into too much, and again, the focus of the show is really healing our world through understanding and love. Why don't you tell our wonderful listeners and viewers a little bit about your experience with everything that's happening? You're in Houston, correct?
I am. I am in Houston. My experience with everything that has been taking place is I have been tired.
Hmm.
I did not realize how emotionally attached to this I was. And I actually had to pull back. I had to pull back from CNN. I had to pull back from social media because my head was pounding me. And my husband kept saying, well, what is wrong? And I think I was just feeling the energy of what's going on right now. So I had to take time away from me because it was overwhelming. Anytime I'm waking up and the tears are just streaming down my eyes, um, I knew something was wrong and I knew it was affecting my spirit.
Mm.
So I pulled back. But throughout the whole thing, I have been watching, except for the time of pulling back. And I was disheartened because watching Mr. George Floyd get murdered was like looking at a modern day lynching. I've
Yes.
never seen anyone hang on a tree except at the movies, while watching film. But seeing that took something out of me, and I think it took something out of the world. Black people, white people, Asian people, African people, Australian people. It took something out of all of us. And I believe that, unfortunately for Mr. George Floyd's family, that he was our sacrificial lamb for change. Looking at his daughter on the news when she said, "My daddy changed the world." He did. He did. When he was calling out for his mother as he laid there on the ground with the knee in his neck, I believe he knew he was about to die. And I knew that he saw his mother, or I believe he saw his mother in the spirit. So that's my take on it. But we need healing. What I love about it, though, is seeing so many beautiful, wonderful people of all colors and nationality chanting Black Lives Matter. We have come to a place where we matter. And that's all people want, is to matter.
Yeah.
So here we are
Well,
today.
and not only, not only matter, but let's let's call it out as also some of the most amazing gifts to this world. And you can just go down literature, music, poetry, math, science, inventions,
Yes,
wisdom, knowledge has come from Black people.
very true.
This,
But there's a saying, I'm
yeah.
sorry,
Oh,
Christine,
no, no, go
there's
ahead.
a saying out there, and they say when you're Black, it doesn't matter how much money you have or how much education you have or what cars you drive or where you live. You're still just a nigger. And that's how some people really feel, you know, that any of that stuff doesn't matter because of the color of our skin. And that's very unfortunate because I have friends who are attorneys and things like that, and they say, "Sharon, when I get on the elevator with a white woman, she'll clench her purse or something like that, you know." So a lot of people have been conditioned, and we can't help what families we grow up in, but we can change who we are as we get to know people and talk to people and communicate and understand. Ask questions. It's okay to ask questions. And I met a young lady, a Caucasian lady, in Philadelphia, and she had breasts, but she also had a full face beard. And instead of me judging her, I said, "Hey, tell me about yourself." I said, "I didn't want to sit here and stare at you." I said, "But I'm eager to learn." And she told me how she had an issue with an excess amount of hair and that she got tired of shaving and that she just said, "I'm going to let it grow." And she said not too many people would ask her, but they would look at her and laugh at her and things like that. So I think that we should stop judging and just ask. Ask questions. Ask the hard questions. People aren't going to get offended from someone just asking. You know, we can tell you none of your business, or we can explain. A person like me, I'm going to tell you exactly what you want to know. So it's okay to ask, you know. We all have issues and challenges and things like that, but just ask, but don't judge.
Isn't it interesting? I think what's happening right now too, with so much, with not because there's many George Floyds, right?
Yes,
There's
there are.
thousands, okay, that have died unjustly, that have been murdered.
Yes, yes,
Uh, there was no video camera or evidence of it, but it happens every day. It
yes.
happens constantly.
And even now,
And even
just before
now,
we went on
uh,
here, I was looking at CNN and I was just like, wow, have we not learned anything? But you know, this is the time of change.
no, this is what I'm saying too, is that it is a catalyst right now with what's happening and the widespread awareness. There are those that are, number one, waking up. Number two,
Yes,
have woken up but were silent, and now they're speaking out for their brothers and sisters.
yes,
Also, we have a president. We have, in the United States, we have someone that has a great amount of power, who
yes,
is not only someone who does not understand the plight of our Black brothers and sisters, but is a narcissist of the most extreme level. So he will not relate, he can't relate to women, he can't
right,
relate to gay people, he can't relate to Black people, he can't relate to the immigrant experience, he can't relate. It's almost like he is subhuman, where he can't relate to anyone unless they're
right.
a wealthy white misogynist male. So we have that on top. And I'll tell you, it is feeling like the plantation owner is in control of everything. And that is going to also spark unrest in a lot of woke
That's true. It
people,
has.
in a lot of woke people. And I
Yes.
think it's just now it's going to get, a bit more and more. And I'm here in Australia right now, and Australians are like, what's happening? What's going on in America? You know, even with the COVID-19 thing, they were like, whoa, what's happening? It just seems like there's a real, like, a lockdown happening. And now with the protests and the curfews and all of that, they're really worried about their brothers and sisters in the US. What is your feeling right now on where this is taking us? Um, the reactions, the stuff that's happening, where people are expressing
Yes.
themselves through, maybe through looting also, and breaking down the system, cracking the windows, so to speak. Where do you think this is going right now?
As far as the looting is concerned, they haven't been looting for days now. I haven't seen any of that on the news. However, when it first started, I felt like this, that when you put people in a corner, when you back them in a corner, they're going to come out not in the most gracious way.
Hmm.
They're
Hmm.
going to come out, as they would say in the hood, you're going to come out swinging. And that's what people came out to do. They were swinging left and right. Um, but can you blame them sometimes? You know, when you look at everything that's going on, um, and just the racial disparities, those type of things are going to happen because it's either do or die situations. Am I agreeing with them? I'm not. But do I understand? I
Yes.
do.
Yes.
Target has insurance. Most businesses have insurance. They can rebuild. But then when you've had your foot on someone's neck since birth, that's kind of a tough call. you know. However, on the flip side of things, we also have to change ourselves,
Yeah.
regardless of what color we are. You know, I used to be on welfare. I decided that's not where I want to be. But when I was on there, I used the system to get my education. And when I would go get my groceries, you know, we had the paper food stamps. Then I would make sure that I was dressed up. I would make sure that I spoke a certain way.
Mm.
That I still was going to be respected, even though I was in that certain place. But even in school, there was a white young lady. She was on food stamps too. So whoever the person is, you do what you have to do to change your course. And if you don't have anyone in your immediate space, whether your mother, your father, whoever it is, reach out to someone. It could be an educator at your school, but you have to be willing to want change, and you have to be willing to listen, and you also have to be willing to do something about it.
Yes.
You know, we cannot expect the government to change everything. There's a lot of things that need to be changed, but we also need to change ourselves at that same point.
Oh, so true. And I know that you've done a lot of work. Well, I had you on the show before, and we'll have a link to the previous interview so people can check out that interview that I had with you on your
Thank
book, I
you.
See You, Igniting Hope and Preventing Suicide. And um, I think that the people too, it it's so easy and flippant for people to post things on social media, to
Yeah.
see something and share it without questioning it, right? If it this is the thing about human beings. I've noticed this in my 50s, so many odd years being here.
Yes.
We like to feel like we're right. We like
Yes.
to be confirmed that we're right. So that's why the social media is such a, it's for addicts, right? Because we want to say something, and have a bunch of people, have a
Right.
bunch of likes, comments, ooh, comments. And even the algorithm of Facebook is the more likes and comments you get, right, the more it's seen.
Right. Right.
But as human beings, we do have this thing where we so badly want to be made
Heard.
right. Well, and but that our beliefs are backed up by other people. See, they all believe the same thing,
Right.
right?
Right.
And this is where we get into a whole mess of trouble, because as you have done, and your research has as well, is that words and images and things like that hurt, and they hurt people, and our young people at a disproportionate rate. Younger and younger people are taking their own lives. And this is what it's one thing too that Black lives are being taken by not just police officers, but crazy white people in neighborhoods with guns, and I mean, it's crazy.
Yes.
But what we say has an impact, and when there's a young person who sees that, they take it to heart. And can you
They
talk about
do.
it's alarming there that the rate of suicide is getting younger and younger too with people.
And you know what, Christine, I've sat and I thought and I pondered why so many young Black people and now Black men are taking their lives. And I thought about that in the midst of George Floyd. And I think that a lot of our young people are taking their lives, and Black men, is because they feel like their life doesn't matter. Yes, mental health plays an issue with some, but not all. But when you feel like you've done everything right or everything that you can do, but it still doesn't matter, that leaves a hole in your heart. And sometimes you do not have your tribe or a tribe around you that encourages you or pushes you. And then some people don't have that faith in something to get them through to the next day. I had faith in God. I grew up in church. So I always had that faith that that entity would help me get to the next day, or that entity would help me pass that test, or that entity would be there when no one else is there, and I could call out to the entity or ask questions or talk or whatever it is. But some people don't have that. So what else do they have? They're tired. They're broken. They feel like they can't get ahead. They can't get any money. They can't get support from the government. What do I have? And for our children, same thing. Mama don't understand because she's going through the same thing. I don't want to see mommy struggle anymore, or daddy struggle anymore.
Yeah.
So if I'm not here, perhaps they won't struggle so much. Some people think like that. So just in my thoughts, I haven't done any research, but just in my thoughts, I was thinking that perhaps more men, Black men, and more young Black children are taking their lives because they feel like they don't matter, and their families would be better off if they weren't around,
Mhm.
you know. So
And when that's reiterated by what they see in the news reports and things, and
absolutely.
another George Floyd, um,
Am I going to be here? Most
right.
young Black boys don't believe that they'll reach 25, 30. You know, they're afraid of the police. You know, the police stop me. Are they going to kill me? You know, what am I being stopped for? You know, all my paperwork is right. So why am I being stopped? I'm
And
obeying the
that is
law.
an undue, that is a stress that is that especially our white brothers and sisters who don't understand what it's like to have that fear just driving down the street in your
Yes.
car, or like, you know, I'll tell you, I've never, when I've gone to a store, a clothing store, or in a mall, I've never had anybody follow me, any security or store manager watch me. And this is what
Yeah, and
happens
the
when,
agents
yeah, no,
in the hair stores,
I
when
have a
when
dear
when
friend.
Black.
I have a dear friend who's like, you know what? I am so sick and tired. She says, I could buy whatever I fucking want in this store. But she's like, I'm so sick and tired of every single time I go into a store, somebody's following me like I'm going to steal something.
And
And
they do.
year after year after year after your whole life having that happen. This is what I'm trying to also impress upon my white brothers and sisters out there, is that you have to try and understand what it's like to be called names, what it's like to be followed, what it's like to be spoken down to as if,
Targeted.
yeah, and targeted, but spoken to as if you're already a criminal and all you've done is breathing
Right.
while black, right?
That's true. But it's the way of the world, unfortunately. My parents had to deal with it. My grandparents had to deal with it. My great grandparents had to deal with it. You know, however, what we all have decided is each generation is going to do better than the next. So you can be mad at us and you can try to take whatever away from us. However, we're still going to flourish, and we're still going to grow and smile and love on people and keep moving forward and teaching our children, you know, to do better than us. So that's how I look at it. But it's sad. I look at, let's say, Coleman Kaepernick, you know, and when he was taking a knee, and how everyone was in such an uproar because he was taking a knee. And I had some of my white friends who were so upset. And, you know,
Why?
I would go on, I would go on their thread, and I would say what I needed to say as an African American female. But I'm hoping that she gets it now, because just like that officer took a knee on George Floyd, Colin Kaepernick was just taking a knee for racial injustice, and his whole career was wiped out just because he took a knee. You know, now the NFL, you know, they want to apologize and things like that. But he was already explaining why, because the same thing was going on back then. But now everyone's like, oh, you know, because of George Floyd. But we've been telling you, we've been showing you, the news has been showing you, but you didn't see it until now. So now you want to apologize, but you ruined someone's career.
There's a
That's unfair.
yeah, there's a collective amnesia as well, I think, that needs to be addressed. And even though I myself have never owned another human being, we have to, as a collective, understand that if it's not us, our grandfathers, great grandfathers, whatever, however, as a collective as well, we owned other human beings. And we didn't treat them
Right.
like our dogs and our cats, because we love our dogs and our cats, but we treated other human beings the worst way you could ever treat a human being, ever. And
Right.
for hundreds of years on this planet, on this beautiful but crazy planet. And we have to understand that that has an effect, generations, because we all
On
carry
both.
I carry within me the successes and the joys of my grandmothers and great grandfathers and all of that, but I also carry the pain. So my job is to clear up that, and my job is to do right in the world, to heal that, because
Right.
I need to heal
Yes.
that for me and for my kids, right? The
But
same.
you know what's funny, Christine? There's so many white children out there now protesting in the streets
Yes.
for Black Lives Matter. And I said, and I love this generation of kids. A lot of people say they're out of pocket and all that, but I believe these are the generations that's going to get things done, because they're not treading on what was. They're looking at life at what it is now. And I
Yes.
watched a video of a little girl. She may have been 10 to 12, and she was trying to explain to her parents how racism is wrong. And this is a white little girl. And her parents were going back and forth, and she was standing her ground and giving statistics, and it blessed my heart. And I said, this is the generation of change, because they're smart, they're unique, they're go-getters, they're fighters. You know, a lot of people a little older than me, they don't have any more fight, but these young people, they have the fight in them. And
Yes.
they're like, no, we're not standing on what was 400 years ago. We're coming out of this together. And we need our white brothers and sisters. They're our allies. We need you all to help us, you know, with this injustice or in getting justice in this system. We need you all. We can't do it on our own. So we need white people to stick with us, and Indians and Asians, and time has come. George Floyd was the catalyst for change. It broke America's back,
Yeah.
you know, and we have to rebuild, not only physically, but mentally and in our justice system. And that's exciting to me. So yes, it hurt. Yes, I cried. Yes, I had to pull back from social media and all that, because it was wearing me out. But nothing happens without God. We call it God, we call it spirit, you know, whatever entity it is. It allows certain things to take place so other things can take place, and that I am excited about.
Oh yeah. You just said it so well. It is so true. And even
Thank you.
with our young children too, they're so much more open, uh, even with their fellow schoolmates. You know, it used to be a time where young children who were obviously, if they were gay, they felt isolated. In some areas, it still is
Yeah.
a problem, but more and more, the children are like, what's the problem? There's no problem. There's no problem with that.
Right. We're
And
people.
we're people, exactly. We have hearts and we have minds, and
Yes.
we have this ability to bring this something beautiful to this planet. And I do think that you're
Yes.
right. This next generation is going to change. Is going to change the world for the better. What do you have? Because I know that you've been a very busy lady, and you were
I
actually
have.
you're working with some folks. Why don't you tell our wonderful listeners and viewers what you got on the pike here? What's coming down the road for you?
I start group coaching on Thursday for the next 6 months. I will be working with a group of individuals with personal development and then business development. And I've been doing webinars, and someone asked me to help them with a reality TV show, even though we're going to do it via Zoom. It's just been busy, 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 and I'm loving it.
Yeah.
I'm loving it, and I'm thankful for it, especially now, because people are entrusting their lives to me, and I don't take that for granted. It's funny, my husband keeps saying, you need to start a church. I always told God, if I ever went back into ministry, it would be people of all walks of life, gay, straight, poly, whatever. And I would just talk about the love of God, because I think that we get healed through love, not judgment,
Yes.
but through love. So, he keeps saying it. I don't know what I'm going to do
Do
with
it.
it.
Do it. The Love of God Church by CHERON K
But
Griffin, and it's a tax write-off. Just think about that.
I'm not worried. Yes, it is. I'm not worried about that now. But I would just want to see people healed and free, whatever that means to them, healed and free, because we need that. And we need to be able to hug one another and say, you can make it, and I got you. If I don't have you financially, whatever, at least I got you in prayer. You can call me up, we can chat, we can talk about it, but I got you.
Yes.
And I think people need that right now. Unfortunately, in this another direction, a lot of churches these days, you can't just call and be like, hey, but I would love that kind of concept where you could just call and someone would just love on you,
Well,
meet you where you are.
there's your idea for your expansion on Zoom. And it's a non-denominational church,
Yes,
and
yes.
we do need to have a choir because we need to, for my brothers and sisters who do not understand. When you go to a black church, and it's usually Baptist, but but not the Baptist like the crazy Baptist that white people,
It's,
but it is the most beautiful thing. You cannot be there and not be touched by the love in this beautiful space when you hear a choir, and I dare anybody to sit still when 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 these
I
beautiful
love the
voices.
music. You
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Christine, music touches the soul. And that's what we all have in common, because a lot of white people and black people jam to the same music,
Yeah.
and it's something that brings us together. And I love music, love it,
There's nothing like
So,
it.
yes, I know. So, yes, the black experience with the church music is totally different.
I highly recommend it. And for
You would
those
definitely love it.
and for those that are in remote areas and you're watching this maybe in Bangladesh or something, you can also look up on Spotify or YouTube, whatever your favorite thing is. There's a
Hmm.
group called the Sounds of Blackness, And
Aren't they good?
ooh, they have a couple songs on there. Change is Coming, which is one of my
I
favorite
love
songs,
that.
and I play that in my car, and I'm singing to it, and people are
Good.
looking at me like I'm crazy, and I'm like, oh, it's just my anthem. It's my heart anthem.
Yes,
That's that
yes.
song. So I'm encouraging everybody to go check that out after this show. And how can
I
they learn
love
about?
it.
How can they follow you? First of all, I know you're on Facebook, but let's give them your
Yes.
website address, because if now
Okay.
are you taking people who want to join you on these Thursdays, or is that a private group? I mean, can they join you?
Whoever want to, yes, they can join. I was going to say my Facebook. My website is
Yes.
Cheron's World. CHERON, as in Nancy, S is in Sam, world.com. Sharonsworld.com. But everything else is CHERON K Griffin.
Okay.
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, CHERON K Griffin.
Well,
So
I'll make sure
that's
I
where
have a
you can
link.
reach me.
I'll put the link to sharonsworld.com in this video, and also in the
Okay.
description, the show notes for the podcast, which goes out all over the place.
I'm
And
excited.
so people can click on that. And I'm going to encourage them as well to communicate with you about being a life coach.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, who wouldn't benefit from your beautiful heart wisdom? That's what
Oh,
I've always gotten from you, is this beautiful heart wisdom. And I
thank
love the
you.
way that you look at life and also ask questions yourself, because that's where we're
Yes.
always learning, right? We're always learning. And
Yes. Yes. Yes.
so I want to encourage people
I
to go to
love
your
to
website.
ask.
Yeah, I do too.
I do. Okay. I think for me, because I was so judged when I was young, and I think people should have just asked me, well, why are you so promiscuous? Just ask. I would have told you. I was molested by my uncle, but no one asked. They just judged me. And that's where I learned to ask. Yeah.
And to have compassion for others as well, right?
Very much. Yes. I have lots of compassion and love to give. I do.
I love you,
It's just
Sharon.
part of my nature. Oh, I love you too, Christine. Thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you for being part of this and for being a part of my life. And
Oh,
again,
absolutely.
I, I I wish you love and success. And please say hello to your beautiful husband, who I think was born on my birthday.
July 26th,
Oh no, he's not born on my birthday. Okay, no. Why did I think he was born
because
on my
we
birthday?
share the same birthday, me and him. Maybe that's what you were thinking. Me and my
Oh,
husband share the same birthday.
the same birthday, both of you.
He was born in 56, July 26th. He was born 56. I was born in 70. And we met in the
Oh,
Dominican Republic. Yeah,
you
I
have a
was going on a
beautiful love.
self-care journey.
You have a
Thank
beautiful
you.
love with him. Yeah. And just say hello to him for me, because I remember
I
last time.
will, and tell your family hello and hug your children for me and tell them I said, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate them. And you all, of course.
Being
It's an
aware,
honor.
being aware.
Yes.
Again, my guest today has been CHERON K Griffin, and you can find out more by going to her website, sharonsworld.com. We'll have a link to that. You just click on it, and please do support this wonderful woman who you're welcome back anytime on Out of the Box, okay? We'll
Thank
make
you,
sure we get you back.
Christine. Thank you for the
And
opportunity.
And thank you, wonderful listeners and viewers as well, for joining us today. If you want more information about this podcast show, you can go to outoftheboxwithchristine.com. And if you want, share this video as much as you can. And also subscribe to this YouTube channel, and hit the little bell, and then you'll get notified when there's a new show. Until next time.
And I'm going
Oh,
to have
yes.
to, I took a little picture of us.
Ah,
I'm going to have to subscribe.
yeah.
So it's Out of the Box?
Yes, it's Out of the Box with Christine on YouTube.
Okay. I got it.
and then you just hit you got to subscribe, but hit the bell too, because if you subscribe and hit the bell, then it sends you a little notification when there's a new show.
Yay! All right, I'm gonna do that right now.
It'll notify you when your show is on too.
Oh, thank you so much,
Thank you,
Christine.
darling.
Have a blessed one. Thanks for the
You too.
opportunity.
You too, love.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. See you next time.